Well, I promised that I would give you an update on Cyberpunk if anything should come up, and well, nothing great happened. I would have made this video sooner, but I wanted to relay my full experience of trying to play this game. Where do I start with this? First of all, just so you know where I'm coming from, I consider The Witcher 3 the best game of all time. I jumped on the series since 2007 and I've been praising CDPR ever since. So anyways, I bought the game for my PlayStation Pro. Physical copy, of course, because I'm the type of moron who likes to have physical games in my hands. And well, the game is practically unplayable on last gen. Unplayable, I'm not joking. And I had to force myself to play it, and I finally had to give up on it once I got in an open space because of just how bad it looked. And if you think this looks bad on your screen, you have no idea. This is running on my big 4K TV, and the resolution drops in some areas down to 720. Fuck 4K, it isn't even full HD. It felt like someone rubbed grease all over my screen. This besides the fact that half the time the textures aren't even loading. And they have the nerve to put on the box PS4 Pro Enhanced. Are you kidding me? Enhanced from what? 480p? My 360 ran GTA 5 better than this. And not only does it look bad, it also runs really bad, with the FPS dropping in some places below 20. So you're not gonna have a good time trying to aim for the heads of your enemies, and you're gonna have to consider it's the only way to kill these bullet sponges. I 100% blame CDPR for this. It's your fault. You knew what you were putting out there, you knew how bad it looked, and instead of coming out and admitting it, warning your fans who love you of just how bad this is, you instead decide to hide it and not give review copies for consoles. You made up your expenses for this game just from the pre-orders alone, all while knowing that millions of copies of this game were unplayable garbage. You betrayed the trust of the people who stood by you, and you should be ashamed of yourselves. Oh, but the day one patch will save us. Well, it didn't, and people were so optimistic about that damn patch it felt like that fabled Kraken I've been hearing about. I think 2 more patches came out since then, and the game still looks the same. And honestly, I doubt that you can ever fix it, because, well, think about it, when the game needs to drop down to 720p and 20 FPS, you know you're pushing the game and hardware as hard as possible. The only way to fix this is to raise the resolution, but you can't do that. You would have done it if you could, so I don't know what the solution is. They keep telling us that they're working on it, which in my opinion is just avoiding the inevitable. You can't fix this. The sooner you admit it, the better. People would still be mad, but at least you'll be honest about it. And speaking of hardware, I haven't seen such scum and villainy on the internet for a long time. There were people everywhere bragging about just how good it looks on their expensive PC rigs, all while people were depressed that they spent their hard-earned money on an unplayable version of the game, during 2020 when people are losing their jobs and just need some escapism. Compassion is dead. And some of the more intellectual-orientated ones can't help themselves from pointing out that of course the game is running bad on such an old console, forgetting the fact that the game was announced before last gen even came out, and was developed before the Pro came out, and was almost finished before next gen was out. Anyways, going back to the game and my own journey with it, of course I tried to return the blasted thing, but considering it's a physical copy, which I already stuck in my PlayStation, I can kiss that option goodbye. Now I'm a lot of things, but a quitter is not one of them, so I started looking into any other way of playing the game I waited for 7 years. And I thought to myself, the game is about the future, so why not give cloud gaming a shot? Ah, but which one? There are like a bunch of them out there and I have experience with none of them. So how about I try all of them and see what sticks? And that's what I did. Now, before I go any further, I feel I need to emphasize that I'm not a rich bastard, so just buying like 3-4 games isn't an option for me. So I needed to play this smart, or as smart as my Pentium 2 brain would allow, and just test out different cloud streaming services and then refund them if the game wasn't performing well. However, due to some miscalculations on my part, I didn't do it in the right order. Now, first one I tried was Stadia. And if you know Stadia's return policies, you probably already figured out my mistake. You can only return a game once. Anyway, Stadia looked a million times better than the console version, but for some reason it looked kinda blurry, and since Stadia doesn't really allow you to tweak the game options, I was left a little disappointed. Also, I would like to mention that my internet speed wasn't that good when I started this, so that might have also played a role in this blurriness. So I stupidly refunded it instead of keeping it longer. Thinking back then I should have kept it longer so I could better compare them, but considering I already got stiffed with the PlayStation 4 purchase, I was feeling the pressure. So after my taste of Stadia, I was curious of other such services, so I watched Cloud Gaming Extreme's comparison video on all of them, which is a great comparison in my opinion, since the image fidelity of his comparison is on par with what I experienced. So I finally decided to buy the game on Steam and try it out on GeForce Now. But then I ran into another issue because apparently my internet sucked. Now my internet was 50 megabytes per second and I tested it on testmy.net and speedtest.net and Google or Stadia, and they all confirmed that my speed was indeed around 50, which is low, but it should still be enough, right? I mean, all of these services say I need less or 50 megabytes for 1080p 60 frames per second, right? Which is what I wanted. Even GeForce says I need only 25 or let's say 50, which I have, so I'm okay, right? Nope. Apparently I'm fucked. So now what? Well, I called my internet provider and upgraded it to a faster internet speed of 100 megabytes per second.
Of course!
I would have upgraded it to a faster one, but apparently that's all my plebe neighborhood has to offer. But 100 megabytes should be enough, right? Well, what the fuck? So I contacted GeForce customer support and asked them what's going on, and apparently the European servers are having issues due to all the people that are trying to play Cyberpunk right now. I'm not kidding, this damn game is bringing down whole servers in Europe, and nothing's working. She told me I should wait another day or so and hopefully they'll fix the issue by then. So there's another tip for you. If you're thinking of playing this on one of these services and you live in Europe, forget about GeForce Now. Unfortunate, since I do believe they offer the best looking option. So what's left? Shadow PC. And wouldn't you know it, I actually have a decent connection with them. But unfortunately my country isn't on their list. However, after reading about it, it seems it might not matter all that much. Another issue with it is that it's a bit confusing with all these plans. Shadow Boost, Shadow Ultra, Shadow Infinite.
They've gone to plaid!
All of this would require another video, and I'm still thinking of waiting for another day to see if those guys can get their servers running properly. So this is where I'm at now. I bought 3 games, refunded one, and now I'm waiting. Great. In conclusion, if you're planning on playing this game, don't even think about playing it on consoles. Consider looking into cloud gaming. And as I've mentioned before, I'm not an expert, but if you want to experiment with it yourself, then you might want to try it out in this order. First, test your connection and make sure it matches the requirements. Buy it on Steam, and if you're in the US, test it out on the free version of GeForce Now and see how that runs. If that works well for you, then consider upgrading to Founder to get the RTX on. If that doesn't work, then maybe try Shadow PC, because I think you can refund that as well. And finally, if nothing works, refund the game, you've got 2 hours of testing on Steam, and go for the Stadia version. But remember that return policy. And if you think all of this is complicated, well, you're right. And CDPR is to blame for not telling us the truth. We wasted money and now we're wasting time instead of being prepared with a viable solution. In my honest opinion, they should have killed the console versions a long time ago and just focus on PC, with them porting it next year on the next gen consoles. And yes, I do mean port. If you've already played it on consoles, you already know this. But for everybody else, the game feels like a port, with a complicated control scheme and interface. I don't even know if I can review this game, but as it stands, the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 version would get a 3, with the Pro version getting a 4, so I'll just leave it at that. But the PC version, well, that's another beast entirely. It looks better than how Crysis looked when it released. It's truly impressive, and from my limited exposure to the Quests, I do believe that it could be a great experience for anyone who can actually play the damn thing. Anyways, these are my thoughts on this. If nothing else, I hope my odyssey of trying to play this game helped you. Thank you for watching, please consider subscribing, and as always, have a nice day.